I just love that music. That's even better too.
The thunder.
Yeah, we're bringing the thunder today, Kimber. I've been away for a week. Thank you for subbing for me last week, and now you're subbing for Glenn. So thank you for that as well.
I'm back again this week, which
We
is great.
we might try to get you back again next week too. Just like basically maybe permanent cast member. I don't know.
Oh snap!
That'd be kind of cool.
I'm down.
And I apologize for me being in the Tron universe today. I have no idea what's going on with my green screen. It didn't work at all last time for me, and now I'm green. But hey,
you know, it's kind of comforting. It makes me feel like you're in the Matrix.
Yeah, I feel like well, I've been out of the Matrix for a week in Acadia National Park, so it's maybe this is just Matrix payback for me not being in the Matrix last week.
Yeah, you got to double down on that tech once you get back from nature.
Yeah, yeah. I have yet to actually fully immerse myself in that. But that people did not come here to hear about vacations or anything. Exactly. People came here to hear about the Stormwatch. So I am going to hopefully all my buttons work today. The buttons work today. All right, Dateline 2023-06-12 for everyone out there that's counting and all the ships at sea. I apparently missed a lot last week, both internally at GreyNoise because we'll talk about some of those cool things today, but also on the internet. So it was a pretty fun week last week. And one thing I did want to talk about today, because Kimber mentioned this, is CVE. It actually has a CVE now, which is cool because actually having a code is kind of nice for tracking. 2023-27997. Can you tell the folks about that one, Kimber?
You know, this is one that we are tracking right now. It's out of a French vulnerability research group. I am spacing out on the name right now, but they're hyping a blog that they're going to be posting. We would love it if they got in contact with us and gave us some details ahead of that posting. But basically, Fortinet RCE in the SSL VPN, they say it's pre-authentication. So, you know, that means the potential for a lot of exploitation. So upgrade your Fortinet devices if you have them. That's, you know, the general research or the general advice, because Fortinet has already gone ahead and issued patches. So I'm sure people are out there patch diffing already. And this is a very common spot that we see those FortiGate vulnerabilities in, is in that SSL user facing endpoint. So
I think at this point, people need to put something in front of their FortiGates to protect their FortiGates from themselves.
Hey, it's the security onion, man. You just got to keep on adding layers on layers on layers.
And I will paste these. I think we make the slides available, but I will paste these links so no one has to type those things. The two links, you don't really even need me to paste them. It's the CVE, actual identifier, both in a GitHub search and in our Viz. The Viz is going to turn up nothing because we're still working on a tag for this because that whole patch diffing thing. These vendors make it very difficult to actually make detections, as I think anybody that does detection engineering knows that. I have the GitHub one up there only because you might see some POCs in there. Most of these are just updated RSS feeds with this particular vulnerability. If you do see a POC on GitHub, don't run it because most of the early POCs, as I think everyone that watches us probably knows, are not usually legitimate. They're usually pretty dangerous, or at least amusing in some cases. But yeah, just keep an eye out for these things. Keep watching it. And believe me, we will tell you there would be blogs. There would be many things on our part if we actually do see any of these things.
Yeah. I assume this hashtag, this Zordergate, I'm going to say is how to pronounce it. That's going to be their hype name for it. So I really appreciate that they've come up with their own little hashtag for it.
Another celebrity vulnerability. Celebrity.
The celebrity vulnerability jump.
I mean, it will be interesting to see what the I'm guessing it's because it's XOR. I'm guessing if there's an XOR thing, right? So it'll be. I can't wait to see what this vulnerability actually is. So that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So hopefully we'll talk about the details of it next time on this show. The next one, I have to do this because I was literally disconnected all week last week. I think I saw one bit of political news, but then I did not do any tech. So coming back, I peeked into the internets Friday because I didn't want to just completely come in cold today. And then I saw that basically, now this is a picture of the only good Barracuda, but besides the fish. I mean, the fishes are cool, but like this is if you buy a Barracuda appliance, this is the only Barracuda appliance you probably should buy, and you really should put your current Barracuda appliance in this garbage disposal as well, since it is garbage now. You have to throw them out. This was a scary one. Like what was there? Because so I missed all the chatter on this. How much chatter was out there about this last week, Kimber?
You know, in my circles, there frankly was not very much chatter about this, and I imagine this is because maybe Barracuda devices are falling out of fashion, question mark, in favor of things like Proofpoint, stuff like that, because Barracuda is inline network security, but it was specifically for email stuff.
Right.
In the past, I know that they've thrown in the kitchen sink, garbage disposal reference, very good, all time.
Nice.
But
nice.
I did not actually hear very much about this beyond, sorry, you gotta literally buy a new Barracuda device if you want from this. And I think everybody was just kind of collectively face palming over this one. Like, is this actually advice that we can give? Is just buy a new one?
Yeah,
or buy something else.
Or as an interim step, buy Proofpoint, put it in front of this while you decommission this, and then just move slowly to Proofpoint. And I apologize if there are any Barracuda employees listening. I really doubt they are because of the lack of security in your own products. But sorry, like it's just, this is unexcusable. And as someone who used to sign checks, not for Barracuda, but for other things, like this was a deal breaker. Like I would be throwing you out at my next budget cycle. So I would encourage all CISOs listening to do the same thing.
GreyNoise Stormwatch here for spicy vendor opinions.
That is what we have. Speaking of spicy opinions, I did catch wind of this because it was hard not to catch the Reddit meltdown. Do you have any concerns specifically? So like if Reddit's Reddit, like it's easy to make Reddit jokes because it's a it's got it has a historical whatever with like trolls and things like that. It does have some uses. Do you have any concerns about this meltdown of Reddit and things shutting down on Reddit?
Yeah. I think this is an important internet happening because it just shows more and more again that public internet communities are under fire. Basically, any social community is not making money. So everybody is having to figure out how to make money. And we also have this growing concern of how we've got so much AI generated content now that the public facing internet is just going to become like repeats of one another. And communities like Reddit are where you can find those original opinions, those, not necessarily trusted, but like the voice of the community type stuff, kind of like what Twitter used to be before it was ruined. So now we've got Reddit ruining itself, turning into even more of a dumpster fire. So in case you are out of the loop on this, Reddit is charging more for third-party apps and things to access its API. And this is bad because those people creating those apps for access are usually a bit smaller. They're not going to be able to afford this. It's just bad all around. I understand like Reddit has to make money, but also like public facing communities are important. Private communities are obviously like what the internet is moving towards as a whole. So this is relevant to the security industry because we rely on information sharing. So think about where your private communities are at. I think we mentioned this last week too. Just like, come join the community Slack for GreyNoise. We're on it.
We are. I mean, I'm not as on it as I probably should be. But yeah, like it is an actual outstanding community. Seeing the folks just band together, actually ignoring us, maybe because we're not on it as often as we should be, but doing really cool things and coming up and sharing information and coming up with new detection for things and letting us know about detections because we actually have some community tags coming down the pike, which is great.
So if you do rely on our NetSec or something to hear about emerging threats, probably got to find somewhere else now.
I mean, I look at I think I mentioned SolarWinds before, but Kaseya was this was pre-show dialogue. But Kaseya was the one that really there was a lot of great work being done in the Kaseya channel, or in the NetSec channel on the Kaseya ransomware event from a couple years ago, and like that whole like open sharing, like basically doing incident response for the internet, is invaluable. It's completely invaluable, and we're going to lose that. And I'm one of those non like detractor. So I was saying non proponents. I am a detractor of only private communities because the information stays locked there. There's no easy way to get the information out, so it isn't searchable. I mean, granted, you really can't find anything on Google anymore anyway. So like, was anything searchable? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the next like 18 to 36 months of just how hard is it going to be to find information. Where are people going to go to do that? How many things do you have to monitor? Can we get RSS out of some of these things? Is it gonna be blue sky? Is it gonna be who knows what things are gonna be?
Who knows? Like. And hopefully it'll just become this like very interesting balance of public and private, and we reach some sort of equilibrium. Fingers crossed.
And I think people need invites to the community Slack. So just research at GreyNoise.io if you would like one of those, or hit us up on Twitter, and we'll be glad to get you a Slack into there. To get down to business a little bit, this is a little bit of like, you can all go to the visualizer and see these, which is why this is a bit of an eye chart. Since we talked about this like a couple weeks ago, and there's also something I want to just cover a couple of the tags in case anyone is wondering how I have 4 things up in one screen. This isn't just 4 browser things pasted together. I use the Arc browser. I get nothing for telling you that you should use. I think everyone should use Arc, but I'm also really biased at that. It's an amazing browser. I can have 4 things up at one time on a giant widescreen. But anyway,
people at GreyNoise are on Arc.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. So like this has leveled up my ability to do research. Arc is just a phenomenal browser. We could do an entire, we won't, but we could do an entire episode on Arc because that has nothing to do with so much. But I want to just, so on the left 3 panes are what we talked about a couple weeks ago with the Mariah Marauder, as I called it, which I am not shocked that no one picked up on that and made it a thing. I don't do buzzes really well. I just want to let people know that it is still a thing. The dude apparently, or the dudes or the peoples or whoever they are, took a break. Maybe. Now this may coincide with when I was on vacation. I am not the Mariah Marauder. I just noticed that. If anyone does the math, like, yeah, it looks like it was quiesced while I was gone. I am not. This is not me. It is totally not me. But it's back up to bad levels again. It's hitting some of the same tags as before, and there's some new ones as well too. I didn't put it into here. This is just something, it's hitting old vulnerabilities. There's some new stuff baked into it. Keep an eye out for stuff. Make sure your stuff is patched like everything else. And I just put the move it transfer because we saw that burst happen when we had the tag and we were able to track the scanning for it. And now we don't see anything. And a lot of this has moved to internal. A lot of organizations were hurt and damaged pretty badly by this and are still probably being damaged pretty badly by this. So if your work hasn't patched move it, you probably should move it and patch move it.
Yeah, this was such an interesting little burst. I had a lot of fun deep diving into some of the IOCs that were triggered. Well, not triggered, but seen on GreyNoise. And our IP similarity was actually able to pull back like some other little interesting clusters of things that like could be related. So I did a big nerdy deep dive on this move it stuff, and I wanted more. I wanted more from this, not for the sake of, just for the sake of research, not to make it more than it was, but I just wanted more IPs to look at.
So how formal was that? And could you show some of that next time around? I
tweeted about it.
Okay. I am off of the bird site, so I see nothing. I only have that bird site image because that was, I'm done. I'm done with Twitter. Totally.
I should blog about it.
Yeah, you should.
Blog about it. All right.
We have a commitment for a blog from Kimber. And in my absence, Kimber was amazing, did an incredible blog. Please go to the GreyNoise blog and read up all about GreyNoise Labs and the new Labs API. We haven't officially announced GreyNoise Labs. This is kind of the soft launch of GreyNoise Labs. Really, really like great name, so creative, not at all just adding labs onto the end of our company name. But it's good. we have a lot of stuff up here, and so we're not going to cover this in a lot of detail because I know every single person that's watching right now or listening right now can read. So hit up viz.greynoise.io/labs. Go to the thing, press all the buttons to get access. It's free, and what we're doing is we're trying out some. We have lots of data. Like we have scads and scads of all kinds of data that you don't see at all in the visualizer or in the API, and we're trying to see what y'all would like. And we think some of this is useful. We want to see if you think is useful, and if it is, we want to get it into the visualizer directly, into the API directly, make it available so folks can take massive use of it and protect things and research all the things. It's interesting that you were talking about IP similarity, Kimber, because I wonder if you do a knock knock comparison, and I'll tell you what knock knock is in a second after you tell me that.
I did not. That's a very good
See,
point.
that's going to be interesting. So, what we have on here is a bunch of different endpoints. Noise GPT, I'll talk about two of them: Noise GPT and Knock Knock, or I think it's Knock on here. Noise GPT. I'm not supposed to say this, so I'm going to get in trouble. But well, this is an API endpoint where you can put in a natural language query like you would to ChatGPT, and you will then basically get a GNQL, GreyNoise query language, which is just a fancy thing for we set on top of Lucerne. And I hate that query language. I hate Lucerne query language. I hate it.
Well, you can't hate it.
I do. I actually hate. It's not our fault. Like I don't hate us for it. Like it is what it is, and that is how you actually do things. Like give me SQL or give me death is kind of who I am. But this makes it possible for you to use natural language to then query GreyNoise. I know I'm not the only detractor for the Lucerne quick query stuff.
Query languages are hard.
They are.
Languages are hard. I
mean, if only we had one that existed like back in mainframe days that would work great right now, SQL, it'd be great. But anyway, I digress. I'm not supposed to say this, but there's going to actually be a text box that you can chat into and actually type the natural language in instead of using the API here. So test out the API, please, because we're looking for feedback on the APIs. Test out all the APIs. The second one, though, just to feature is what I mentioned, Kimber, Knock Knock, or Knock, as we're showing it on here. We're doing something really interesting. So we listen. Like we are basically the eavesdroppers of the internet. We're all over the place. We hear everything. And we also now, when you might not have known this, but for a long time now, whenever an IP address would hit us in some other place, in some other magical network not associated with us at all, we actually do scans back at those IP addresses. So internet scans like you would find from Shodan or from Census or whatever that's out there, and we hit that up timely. So rather than it be a like maybe every couple of days thing. I mean, Shadow Server does it every day, but not all the places do it every single day. This is a Tommy one though. Like we hit them the same day, and it's not coming from a known scanner place. So the reality is like that we may get different results than Census does. We do in some cases, or Shodan. This is a really cool thing because we have already found, without doing a whole lot of data science, like more like group buys than anything else, but like with a little bit of light data science too, we have identified so many botnets. Just with this data alone. So I encourage folks to take your IP addresses and query them into there and see what the results come back from there. We're going to be building and adding more scans to this as well too, and adding more fields. Explore this like crazy and provide a lot of feedback to us if you could. We're really curious how you're going to use it, what you want to see in the visualizer from this as well too. Like how would you like to see what the hosts are running from the IPs that we have out there? There's so much we could do with this data and so much we want to do for everyone with this data. So we're looking forward to this. Is there any particular API that you found useful at all yet, Kimber?
I was going to highlight my personal favorite and like the one that I would like to hear the most feedback on is the C2 endpoint in here. And these are those second stage IP addresses that we find in payloads. And we have actually provided the payload in the API. So you'll get the second stage IP address, the domain if there's any associated, and then the full payload of where we found it. So I've had a lot of fun pulling those apart and just kind of seeing what's out there. So I would love feedback on this one. I think that it's very interesting, and you just really, when you start to look at it, you're like, dang, there are a lot of Mirai variants out there.
Oh my.
All of the noise is just Mirai. Like,
Yeah, it is incredible just how many devices are owned by various Mirai, herders that are out there, and how many
and
customizations they make to it.
it's all just trash. It's
Yeah.
such trash.
Yeah,
So,
but you say that, and there's a reason, like there's a reason why they run them. Well, first of all, it's free because it's pwned
right,
stuff, but
right.
it works. Like they're able to find other things and use them for other things. Like that, the sad part about Mariah may be garbage, but like they're getting some results from it, so that's why they keep using it.
That low hanging fruit.
I do say I was having a conversation with Josh Corman. If people don't Google Josh Corman, if you don't know who he is, I think everyone that probably watching knows who he is. And I think it's like it was funny because I'm at the point now where like I just want to brick every one of these Mirai devices. I don't care what they are. I actually really don't. They should just brick them all and like that make people buy new ones. Just like you have to get new email appliances
You know,
from Barracuda.
I
And yeah,
I don't think anything of value would be lost if we just figured out a way to do that.
yeah, and he was never on that side, and I've pulled Josh over to my
Oh,
side.
good.
Yeah. So I won't be the one to do it, but I really hope that some good Samaritan actually goes and does that. We're getting close to wrapping up today. I'm not going to cover these in any detail. We did 4 tags while I was out, so everyone did not goof off like they told me they were going to do. Which is awesome. And so props to everyone for working on these things. The one I will say is that bottom one is a new tag for an older internet scanner that's been out there, and we're actually starting to see hits with it. I think we've done a historical, so we've seen stuff going back at least 30 days in the visualizer, and we can go back more if we need to. But it's another internet scanner that people are using because it's been open sourced by one of the other internet scanners. I think they use something different now. So that's something to watch out for in your logs as well too.
That
But
Telerik one, that one
yeah.
haunts me in particular because I remember being on an absolutely brutal, kind of like purple teaming pen test exercise with a previous company, and just like Telerik, it is a very vulnerable software. So I think this one's a fun one to watch. Anything involving that Telerik platform just haunts me because we got so wrecked.
Yeah. No, I hear, and like I would use it as a reverse proxy if it weren't just so gosh darn vulnerable and targeted by
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
So I use other things for reverse proxying instead of that now. But yeah, this is one of those, and this is one of those permanent things. Like there's always going to be a Telerik vuln, there's always going to be a Fortinet vuln. It's just perpetual because there's so many of them. They're so popular. It has really nothing to do with because software is imperfect. You can't write perfect software, at least not for any amount of money that people could actually afford to spend. And the last thing that I wanted to just point out here is like if you go to that fun URL up there, which I think there's a link to it off of the lab site, but if not, I'll get one up there. If you just go to our GreyNoise at Observable HQ, you'll see this. We have you can see everything about our tags there. Like everything, it's like a deep, more than you ever wanted to know about our tags is in there. I figured every week or every so often we could poke and take a look at what the CISA KEV, the known exploited vulnerabilities list heat map activity is. This is sort of like our initial stage weather report, which is kind of neat that we can actually do that. It's more of a what happened versus what's going to happen because that's really hard. If we could tell you what is actually going to happen, then that stuff wouldn't happen because then we
I
could fix
think
it.
we're getting close.
We
I
are.
really do.
It's not that bad. Like you can sort of tell just from this one, it's like the same. And like back to your Mirai garbage, like the vast majority of what's like, if you look at the entire list that we have for Kev and our heat map activity for it, the vast majority is just Mirai garbage. All these things have been shoved into various Mirai variants that are out there.
Yep.
I have the move it just highlighted again because that blip caused it to stay like in this top 20-ish list that because it's basically sorted from most to least. I can't believe it is still there despite it only having like a 4-day run. That's a ton of activity just for these things compared to whatever to everything that's out there. I still don't know why the Azure OMI RCE attempt is so popular. Because it's been fixed. Like Azure fixed it, like Microsoft fixed it, so I don't get it.
I'm pretty convinced that some variant grabbed this exploit, like just grabbed it and is perpetuating it, because I know that this is associated with one of the Mirai variants, and pretty much all those top ones are, but still, it's just strange.
Yeah, like well, that one in particular, because like it actually got fixed by Microsoft in Azure. So like it doesn't make any sense to even throw noise at it unless people think that Microsoft doesn't patch all their stuff well and keep it up to date or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So this is just good for folks to check. It updates daily based upon like the activity that's out there.
And we got a question, is this only CVE tags? And this, because it is Kev, that is
Yes.
only CVE tags.
Yeah, so Kev only is CVE. If you were to look at that tag roundup page, that if you go to that URL, and again, like I can try to paste it in or down, or you can just get the link, or just hit me up. We not all of our tags are CVEs, and coming, I don't know when, like in the next whatever period of time. I've been told not to say timelines, so I'm trying not to say timelines. And I have a product person on this vlog, and that means if I say a timeline, I will actually get killed after this. So I'm not, because Kimber will actually kill me. So I will not, but not. There are a lot more things are not in CVE. I think everyone realizes this. So we also realize this, which is why our tags aren't only CVE based, because some of our scanner things are like, if we have a scanner tag, not all those scanner tags are CVE based either, but some of the actual exploits more increasingly are not CVE based as well too. So we're not going to be locked into CVE here very long either. So just keep a watch out for that one, because we know that we can't just rely on that. But because CISA does what CISA does, and they have a certain mandate, and they have only certain numbers of resources available, despite having gobs and gobs of money, they only focus on, like, their short list is CVEs exploited, like known confirmed exploited in the wild, and has a patch. Those are the three things that put something on the Kev list. So if all three things you do not unite and form Kev Voltron, then you're not going to have it on there. But I do appreciate that question. I am going to zap off of that and go back to Tron mode. Anything else for folks on closing, Kimber?
Man, update your FortiGates, trash your Barracudas, and let us know where you're at if you're a Reddit refugee.
Yep. You're welcome here. You are welcome in GreyNoise.
Come say hi on the community Slack. And good luck out there. That's what I've got.
Cool. I will also say good luck this week for especially all Barracuda owners and all Fortinet owners. So have fun this week.
All Fortinet owners, because upgrading those things generally takes some downtime, and the weekend already passed. So
good luck. But everybody has high available firewalls and VPNs, right? They have more than one device, so they can fail over. And oh wait, never mind. That's in that fantasy world that I live in. I apologize.
Oh, let's end it on a happy note, Bob.
Wow.
The Labs API.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, yeah, seriously. Go to the visualizer. Actually, we have Kimber and everybody got a cool lab. You can go to the viz.greynoise.io, that the link was just up. And we have a labs thing up there now too. You hit that, tap that labs thing and go there. Yeah. And subscribe, do whatever, do all the things. And let us know. Please give feedback, because we really want to make it as useful to everybody as possible.
Yeah. There we go. That's our happy note.
Happy note. Thank you again for jumping on today, Kimber. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Can't wait to do it again.
See you, everybody.